Have you ever bought expensive watercolour paper only to be too scared to use it? I've been there, and look at how many pads I have now. Today I'm sharing the 3 things that helped me start using these expensive papers without feeling guilty. The first thing I changed was actually really simple, but the last one completely changed the way I think about expensive paper. So let me explain. The first thing I do is actually cut my paper into smaller pieces, or if you didn't want to cut it, you can just section it and just paint lots of small paintings onto the small sections of the paper. You don't have to paint one big picture, and that means you can experiment with a lot less pressure. If something doesn't work, you've only used a smaller sheet of paper instead of the whole thing. I'm just going to rub out the pencil line. So I know these shapes aren't perfect and they don't have to be, but if you want them exactly, then obviously spend a bit more time just making sure they are accurate. But for example, this is just a small piece. I'm just going to do a really small painting. As you can see, I don't actually do a lot of washes like this, so it's quite a good little practice to have a small sheet like this, stick it down, get lots of water on it, and then just do a little background painting like this. And I will use this a bit later on, so stick around and see what I do with this, because this is important for the third tip that I'm sharing with you. Even just practicing these washes is really good. You're learning water control, brush control, you're looking at the colours, experimenting with the colours, see how they turn out on the paper. You're learning a lot in one go without realising. Just to follow on from that, you could also make some bookmarks as well. Again, the same way, cut them lengthways. These were actually my first bookmarks, so they turned out okay. I'm actually quite happy with them, but that's just another idea for you. Now, this second one might surprise you. Most quality cotton watercolour papers can be painted on both sides. The front usually has the textured paper in cases of cold press and rough press paper. Hot press paper is generally quite smooth. I just feel like there's nothing wrong with using the back of the paper. So sometimes I'll use one side for the finished artwork. Sometimes I'll use the other side for mixing, swatches, brush exercises, leaf practices, or trying out new techniques. It just makes me feel like I'm getting twice the value from every sheet of paper. And also, if something doesn't quite work out the way I thought, like for example the experiment that I did last week, Archer's watercolour paper, experimenting with hot press and cold press paper and trying to explain some things to you, I wasn't too happy with my picture, so I'm painting the back of them. What's your view on that? If you are a beginner artist, is that something you're happy to do? If you're a professional artist and you do happen to be watching my video, great, thank you as well. But what's your view on that? Will you use the back of expensive watercolour paper? Obviously, if you are working on a commission or you're painting something that will eventually be sold, then I think maybe don't paint on the back. Leave me a comment, let me know what your views are on that. So I am just returning back to the picture that I started earlier just to show you what else can be done with it when we get to number 3. And I'm just adding on some petals, some flowers, so it goes really nicely. I'm using the same colours. By the way, I will leave all the materials in the description box, and there will be links for you as well if you want to know more about them as well. But if you've already got, the idea of this video was, if you've already got lots of material already, please use what you have got. Please use it up, but I'll still leave you all the details in the description box for you. So this does bring me on to the third one that I want to share. And if you do still wish to stick around, I have got a bonus tip which won't take too long to share with you as well. So stick around for that. I'm using the dot technique that I've always used, and I'll leave some tutorials in the description box if you want to see more about that and exactly how I do this. It's really simple, really easy, and it's all beginner friendly. I've just sped this up for the purpose of this video. This is one of my go-to painting techniques if I'm stuck on what to paint, and it's easy and it's satisfying, helps me focus, and it's great results at the end. But this third one isn't really about saving paper. It's more about changing how you think about it. So for example, like I've said throughout this video, so many of us save the nicest paper for one day, when we're better, when we deserve it, when we're good enough. But that's kind of the problem, because how are you supposed to learn how beautiful cotton paper feels if you've never actually painted on it? So why don't you try this? Save your expensive paper for paintings that actually mean something. So for example, a birthday, a gift, or what I'm doing here, I'm going to pop it into a frame and make it for my home. So when you're happy, if you do this, when you're happy with your little painting, okay, I've made a teeny tiny mistake there and I can see that, but it's really satisfying, this bit actually. Okay, I've got a tiny mistake, but after some chopping and cutting around, look how beautiful that is in a frame. And now the small piece of paper doesn't feel like I've wasted it. And now the final bonus tip. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around. This one might even be a little bit more controversial, but I use these little flowers and make these floral collages in a sketchbook or a scrapbook, and I'll show you what I do at the end as well. It's just a lovely way to either remember the paintings you've enjoyed or test the colour combinations and create something different with them, and it just stops the paper from going to complete waste. And that's why it's okay to do messy painting sometimes, because you can make something else out of them. And also because of the quality and the thickness of the paper, they are really good for going into a scrapbook. And this is what I've come up with. Really bright, really bold. Okay, maybe a little bit too bold, but still. I'm going to put a tutorial up next week for this one, so keep a lookout for that. So if you have had your best paper tucked away, I would love to encourage you to use just one sheet of paper this week. And not because it has to become a masterpiece, but because that's what paper is made for. They're meant to help you enjoy painting. What do you do to make your watercolour supplies last longer? Let me know in the comments, because I'd love to hear your ideas. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.